Old madam, meet my new young fresh sweet wife. She will now be living with us.
The soup was still hot on the stove when he walked in with her. She had been waiting since 6 o'clock. The jollof rice was still steaming. The fried plantain was arranged the way Dave liked. Not too soft, not too crispy, with a little oil still glistening on top. The table was set. The TV was on his favorite channel. Everything was the way it always was. Because for 10 years, Brandy had made sure everything was always the way it always was. She heard the gate open and smiled. Then she heard 2 sets of footsteps. She told herself it was nothing. Maybe he brought a colleague, maybe it was his cousin Emeka who showed up without calling sometimes. She set an extra plate, just in case, because that was the kind of woman Brandy was. The home sets an extra plate before she even knows who is coming. Then the door opened, and Brandy's smile did not fall slowly. It fell all at once, like a glass slipping from a wet hand. The girl was young, dangerously young. She wore a yellow bodycon dress and heels that made her almost as tall as Dave. Her wig was bone straight and freshly laid. Her nails were long and painted gold. She walked into the house with the particular confidence of a woman who had been told she was replacing someone and had chosen to believe it. Dave walked in behind her. He did not look at Brandy. He put his car key on the cabinet, the way he had done 10,000 times before, and then he finally turned. Brandy. His voice was flat, businesslike, as if he was about to discuss a contract and not destroy a life. I need to tell you something. This is Daniela. She is my second wife. The family has already blessed it. Silence. Not the peaceful kind, the kind that comes right before thunder. Brandy set the plate down slowly on the table. She did not want to drop it. She did not want to give either of them the satisfaction of watching her hands shake. She looked at Daniela. Daniela looked back at her with curious eyes, the way someone looks at an old piece of furniture they are about to replace. Then Brandy looked at Dave, really looked at him, at this man she had nursed through malaria twice, this man whose business debt she had paid with her own jewelry, this man she had woken up at 5 in the morning to pray for, cook for, plan for, cry for. And she said, very quietly, I hope she can handle what I have been carrying for 10 years. Then she picked up her handbag from the chair, walked past both of them, and stepped out of the front door. She did not slam it. She closed it gently. That was the most painful part for Dave. Not a scream, not a fight, just a door closing quietly, like the last page of a book.
A man does not know the value of water until the well runs dry. But some men, the foolish ones, do not even notice the well is gone until they are already dying of thirst. 3 weeks after Brandy left, Dave told himself he had made the right decision. He sat in his living room, their living room, and watched Daniela rearrange the furniture for the 4th time. She had thrown away Brandy's curtains, the deep burgundy ones Brandy had saved up for 2 months to buy, and replaced them with white lace that let in too much sun and made the room look naked. Do you like it? Daniela asked, turning to him with a bright smile. Dave said yes, he did not like it. But those early weeks had a kind of intoxicating energy. Daniela was loud and fun. She filled the house with laughter and her friends and loud music on weekends. She smelled like expensive perfume that Dave was now paying for. And she had a way of making him feel powerful, like a man who had finally arrived. What he did not notice at first were the small things going wrong. The electricity bill doubled because Daniela left the air conditioning running all day while he was at the office. The food was either burnt or ordered from a restaurant that charged 3,000 naira per plate. She had never washed a dish in her life and saw no reason to start now. That is what house girls are for, she told him when he mentioned it. So Dave hired a house girl, then a cook, then a second house girl because the first one and Daniela did not get along. The business, which had been Brandy's project as much as his, began to feel the absence of her invisible hand. It was Brandy who had managed the books, who remembered which client needed to be called on which day, who made sure the suppliers were paid on time so deliveries never stalled. Dave had never fully understood how much she did because she had done it so quietly and so completely. Now, invoices were missing. A client called 3 times without a response and moved his contract elsewhere. The office administrator, a woman Brandy had hired and trained personally, resigned because nobody was managing the workplace anymore. Dave started coming home late, the way men do when they are avoiding the reality waiting inside their own front door. One night, he came home at midnight to find Daniela sitting up in the dark, arms folded. "Where have you been?" "Working." "Which work? Your business is not even doing well. I heard you lost the Abuja contract." He stared at her. "Who told you that?" "I have ears." She stood up. "Dave, I did not leave my family to come and manage poverty with you. My friends are asking questions. I need a new car. The one you gave me is 2018 model. People are laughing at me." He sat on the bed and put his face in his hands. And for the first time since Brandy walked out that door, the silence in the house felt different. Not peaceful, not comfortable, just empty. He reached for his phone without thinking, opened Brandy's contact, stared at her name. Then he put the phone down. "Not yet," the pride in him said. "Not yet."
You cannot break a woman who has already decided she is the foundation, not the furniture. What Dave did not know, what none of them knew, was that Brandy had been quietly preparing for years. Not preparing to leave, she had never planned to leave, but somewhere in the back of her mind, in that quiet place that speaks to women who have given everything and received very little in return, she had always known that she needed something of her own. She had started small, a small catering supply business she ran from her phone, taking orders for events on weekends. Dave knew about it, but never paid it much attention. To him, it was Brandy's little hobby, the thing she did to keep herself busy. He had no idea she had been reinvesting every profit, quietly building a client list, slowly expanding. When she walked out of that house, she had 3 things: her personal savings account Dave did not know about, a small but loyal customer base, and 10 years of resilience that had been sharpened to a fine, quiet edge. She moved into a 1-bedroom flat in a modest estate on the other side of town. Her sister Fumi thought she was crazy. "You should fight," Fumi said, pacing the small room while Brandy unpacked her bags. "Go back there, make noise, call his family. That is your house." Brandy folded a blouse and placed it carefully in the wardrobe. "Fumi," she said without turning around, "I am not interested in fighting over a man who looked me in the face after 10 years and brought home a replacement. What I am interested in is making sure that in 12 months, he understands exactly what he threw away." Fumi opened her mouth, closed it, and sat down. Brandy called her old contact, a businesswoman named Mrs. Adelike, who had once told her at a catering event, "You have the mind of an entrepreneur, my dear. Stop hiding it in someone else's kitchen." Mrs. Adelike remembered her immediately. Within a month, Brandy had a business partner. Within 3 months, she had moved from catering supplies into full corporate event management and catering, with 2 staff members and a brand new registered company named Ember and Gold Events. She walked like a woman possessed, not out of bitterness. She had made a decision early on that bitterness was a poison she refused to drink. She walked because she finally had something that was entirely hers. No husband to report to, no home to rush back to. Just her vision, her hands, and a hunger that 10 years of being underestimated had built up inside her. The Lagos Corporate Excellence Forum was the biggest business networking event of the year. 500 of the most influential entrepreneurs, investors, and industry leaders in Nigeria gathered in one ballroom at the Echo Atlantic. The kind of event where deals worth hundreds of millions of naira were signed over handshakes and small chops. Dave had fought to get a ticket. His business was bleeding. 3 major clients had left in the past 2 months. A loan he had taken to expand operations was now due and the expansion had stalled. He needed this event. He needed one good connection, one investor who would listen, one door that would open before everything collapsed. He dressed carefully that evening, his best agbada, his good shoes. He sprayed cologne and stood in front of the mirror and told himself tonight was the night things would turn around. He arrived and walked the room nervously, shaking hands, exchanging cards, laughing at jokes he did not find funny. An hour in, he had spoken to 12 people, and none of them had given him more than polite interest. He was standing near the drinks table when the energy in the room suddenly shifted. It was subtle at first, a ripple, the kind that moves through a crowd when someone important walks in. Heads turned toward the entrance. Dave turned too, and the drink nearly fell from his hand. She walked in wearing a deep green fitted dress that made her look like she had been carved from confidence itself. Her hair was natural, styled up with small gold earrings catching the light. She walked slowly, not because she was nervous, but because she knew the room was watching, and she had decided long ago that she would never again rush for anyone. Beside her was Mrs. Adeleke, one of the most respected businesswomen in Lagos. Behind them, two well-dressed young women who were clearly her staff. Whispers moved through the crowd like wind. Is that not Brandy Okafor, the one who started Ember and Gold? She just won the Best New Enterprise Award at the SME Summit last month. I heard she handled the catering and logistics for the Governor's Economic Conference, full contract, single-handedly. Dave stood frozen. He watched as she was greeted warmly by 3 different guests before she had even reached the center of the room. He watched a man he had been trying to get a meeting with for 4 months walk directly to her and shake her hand with both of his. He watched her laugh, that same quiet laugh he used to hear in their kitchen, and this time it was not for him. It was not in their house. It was filling a room full of powerful people who were treating her like she belonged at the very top. His chest tightened. She had not seen him yet, or if she had not shown it. And somehow, that was worse. Some apologies come too late. Not because forgiveness is impossible, but because the woman you are apologizing to is no longer the woman you hurt. She has become someone entirely beyond your reach. He crossed the room. He told himself he just wanted to talk, to explain, to say what he should have said months ago. His heart was hammering, but his legs kept moving, past the waiters with their trays, past the clusters of guests, until he was standing directly in her path. Brandy. She stopped, looked at him, and for one long second, he could not read her face at all. Dave? Her voice was pleasant, neutral, the way you greet someone you once knew a long time ago. You look, he swallowed, you look well. I am well, she said simply. He glanced around. Mrs. Adeleke had drifted politely to one side, giving them space. The 2 staff members stepped back. They were briefly alone in the middle of the crowded room. Brandy, I have been trying to reach you. I know. I made a mistake, a very big mistake. Daniela, he paused, dropped his voice. She left 3 weeks ago. She said the business was not stable enough. Dave? Brandy's voice was gentle but firm. The way you speak to a child who has just realized the stove is hot. You do not need to explain Daniela to me. I just want you to know that I am sorry. Truly, what I did to you was wrong, and I have not stopped thinking about it. If you could just give me a chance to... To what? She asked. Not unkindly, just honestly. He opened his mouth, closed it. She took one small step closer and looked at him the way a person looks at something they once valued and then lost and have since found peace about losing. Dave, you had a woman who woke up before the sun for you, who sold her gold earrings, her mother's earrings, so your business would not collapse, who prayed for you when you did not even know you needed prayer, who made your house a home and your life makes sense. She paused. And you looked at all of that and decided it was not enough. You decided a younger face was worth more than a faithful heart. He was quiet. His eyes were glassy. I do not hate you, she continued. I want you to know that, but I also need you to understand something clearly. She straightened. You did not just lose a wife, you lost the woman who made your life work. And no apology in this room tonight, or any room, can give you back what you chose to throw away. She picked up a fresh glass of juice from a passing waiter's tray, smiled at him once, the same faint smile she had given him that last evening in their house, and turned to walk back toward Mrs. Adeleke and the group of investors waiting for her. Dave stood in the middle of the room, surrounded by 500 successful people, and felt completely alone. He drove home that night in silence. No music, no phone calls, just the road and the weight of every choice he had made in the last year pressing down on him like something physical. Daniela was gone. The business was failing. The house that Brandy had turned into a home now felt like a building. Walls, roof, furniture, but nothing living inside it. He parked outside the gate and sat in the car for a long time. He thought about the soup that was hot on the stove the night he walked in with someone else. He thought about the door that closed quietly. No slam, no scream, just a soft click that had somehow been louder than anything he had ever heard. He thought about 10 years. And for the first time, he did not think about what he had gained when she left. He thought about what he had destroyed. Brandy did not go back. She went forward. Ember and Gold Events became one of the most sought-after event management companies in southwest Nigeria within 18 months. She hired 12 full-time staff. She moved into a 3-bedroom apartment that she paid for herself. She smiled every morning, not because life was perfect, but because it was entirely, completely, powerfully hers. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today.